A CBC News investigation has discovered a new threat to your bottom line. New smartphone apps that allow users to store credit card information on their phones. Now, it's supposed to make things easy and more convenient for you by creating what's called now a digital wallet. But it's also putting electronic pickpocketers on the prowl. And here's exactly how it works. Some credit cards have what are called RFID transmitters. Now, that's what allows you to make purchases without using a PIN or signing anything. The new app transfers your credit card information onto your phone. There you see it on your screen. So you have a convenient digital way to pay for things. CBC has learned there's a security concern associated with the app, though, because thieves are able to read your personal financial information from your credit card, and they can do it through a purse or through clothes. So those are the headlines of an investigation. You're going to see coverage all through the day on CBC News Network. It's a fascinating story, and we have Michael Legary in to explain it further. Michael's a security expert, normally based in Winnipeg, but thankful for me, right here in Toronto at a seminar, so we can bring you in and talk face to face about a story that I think is going to have people going, oh my goodness, I haven't even heard of this before.
Absolutely. A lot of folks haven't heard about it.
All right, well, you're going to explain it to us. Number one, let's start with the technology. I gave some of the headlines here, but how does this technology work on our phones, number one?
Well, essentially, there's two chips in your phone. There's the one that you see, and there's actually one embedded in the card, which is the wireless RFID chip that transmits the financial information. And when the technology was designed, it only presents a limited amount of information. So it was designed to be safer than just having your credit card number on the card. The challenge is that when the technology was designed, the number of readers, the technologies like at the point of sale, were limited. And now anyone with a cell phone with near-field communication technology, NFC readers in the phone, like a Samsung, a new BlackBerry, they can actually come up close to your card, close to your wallet or purse, and read it. And what they'll get is not just the basic financial information, but potentially your name and a one-time authorization to do a transaction using your credit card information.
Okay, so this is key private information that you want to protect. And as you said, as this has evolved, and we have pictures that we've been showing this morning, you can come up behind somebody, you know, and sort of tap into their card, and they don't even realize it.
Absolutely.
So how then have fraudsters and other people with, you know, ill intent, how have they been able to use this?
Well, when the technology was first came out, the challenge was that the individual had to come up to the person and read the card. And if they couldn't use the card quickly, that one-time transaction authorization may expire. So credit card companies figure this is low risk.
Right.
But now they've learned new tricks where you can actually have one person read the credit card information up close and send it to somebody else, be it in the same room or in a different country, and allow them to use that one-time authorization to do a transaction anywhere. Yeah, and that's the challenge. So now instead of just having to read it and get basic information, the fraudsters have learned how to actually make transactions and make large transactions and frequent transactions using this technology. And that's where the concern comes in for us, as well as the card brands.
So let's bring up a picture here so that people who are watching at home know exactly if they're at risk. There's a symbol, isn't it, on a card that will tell you if you have it. Here it is here. We've circled it in red. Yeah, and there'll be two. There's the wireless pattern that you see on many cards, and the other one is also the MasterCard Pay Pass symbol. So there's two you got to look for, but that is the most prominent one. It's not the chip, just so people don't, you know, be concerned. It's not your little chip encrypted. This is this particular symbol to watch for.
Exactly. That symbol shows you that there's actually a chip inside it. So the chip that's on the outside is an older technology. The wireless chip is embedded in the card. You cannot see it unless you see that symbol.
All right, so that, if you have that on your card, that's where you might be potentially vulnerable. So let's talk about how then to thwart problems. What I have in my hand, Bill, one of our terrific camera operators in our studio, said, I have this already. This is a little special wallet that he purchased from CAA.
Yes.
And you can get a sleeve or something like that. So you carry your cards in this, and it's impervious to any sort of, you know, and no one can pick up your information, right?
Yes. They're designed to actually shield the wireless communication from occurring.
All right.
And again, quite literally, a little piece of tinfoil will do the job. So you can spend $1 or $2 or $100 on a fancy wallet.
Okay.
The reality is that anything to do to shield the wireless technology from communicating is what you need.
All right, so you do
and
that
there's lots of options.
as the consumer. What about, though, banks and credit card companies? As you said, the threat is widening. What are they doing to protect their consumers?
Well, when the technology came out, they had a lot of security controls they designed, but not necessarily implemented. So a good example is last year when we were experimenting, we were able to do $4,000 or $5,000 transactions using certain credit cards and the wireless payment technology. They designed in the ability to limit the size of the transaction, be it $20 for a cup of coffee or a couple of coffees, depending where you're going, or $100 for gas. And some of the institutions did not install those limits in the last couple of years. So you could literally get the information, do any size transaction that your card would allow. And now they're putting these smaller limits in to allow for small transactions. Okay. So they're limiting their liability. They're starting to see issues, and as they do, they're tightening their controls, because typically they're the ones at risk. When the money gets lost, you're going to see the fraud, and they're going to take the hit. Then they're going to charge us more, and it all goes around. Right. But they're starting to put those limits in place now to protect themselves.
Can you even turn off that transmitter ability or
Absolutely.
anything like
a lot of institutions will actually allow you to call them and disable the technology. It's not preferential, so a lot of the bigger institutions won't allow it. But the key thing to keep in mind is that the way they disable it is on the back end, on their computer systems. Right. So the information that's on the chip, potentially your name or other personal information, could be identified. The big issue we're seeing right now is privacy. So individuals are not even just reading the credit card information to steal the credit card, but they're identifying if you're a high-value target. They can get your name without touching you, and they can see if you have a large value Visa Infinite card, or if you have a MasterCard student card. Really? And they're making decisions about how to target you for other crimes based on that information they read as you walk by.
Our reporter's been saying, technology does allow things to be so much easier and accessible and more convenient for us, but it's bringing more and more ills along with it, and here's the latest example. Michael, thanks very much. Really appreciate your helping us understand this better today, and more reporting on this story all through the day here on CBC News Network.